In the heart of the Soviet Union, during the bone-chilling winter of 1959, a group of 9 hikers embarked on an expedition that would later become one of the most perplexing and chilling mysteries in history. This was not an ordinary excursion. These were experienced mountaineers, young but seasoned in the brutal art of wilderness survival. The leader, Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, was known for his meticulous planning and unwavering confidence. The team he assembled was equally capable, each possessing the skills and resilience needed for the harsh journey ahead. Their objective was simple, yet the path they chose was anything but. Otorten, a peak in the northern Ural Mountains, was their destination. Its name, in the indigenous Mansi language, ominously translates to, "Don't go there." Yet, undeterred by superstition or warning, Dyatlov's team set forth with determination and a thirst for adventure. The journey began on January 23, 1959, in the city of Sverdlovsk, now Ekaterinburg. They traveled by train, bus, and truck, documenting their progress through diaries and photographs, each entry and snapshot brimming with optimism and camaraderie. As they neared their goal, the landscape transformed into a wintry wasteland of ice, snow, and unrelenting wind. The cold, piercing and unyielding, seemed to whisper through the trees, foreboding and ever-present. One of the hikers, Yuri Yudin, fell ill shortly after the expedition began and was forced to return home, unknowingly saving his life. The remaining 9 pressed on, their journey immortalized in journals that would later become vital pieces of an intricate and baffling puzzle. Chapter 2: The Vanishing Point. The team was expected to return by February 12. When no word came, concern spread rapidly. Families grew anxious, and a search was launched on February 20. Volunteers, military personnel, and even fellow students scoured the unforgiving landscape in search of the missing hikers. On February 26, the first grim discovery was made. The search team stumbled upon an abandoned tent on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl, a mountain whose name means "dead mountain" in the Mansi language. The sight that greeted them defied logic and understanding. The tent had been slashed open from the inside. Scattered belongings, including clothing, food, and equipment, lay untouched within, as if the hikers had fled in terror. Tracks led away from the tent, barefoot in the snow, despite the freezing temperatures. They extended toward a dense forested area about 1.5 kilometers away, eventually leading the rescuers to the first bodies. Chapter 3: The Cedar Tree. Underneath a towering cedar tree, the remains of Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivoniskenko were found. Both were shoeless, dressed in little more than undergarments. A small fire had been attempted, and the branches above were snapped, as if one of them had climbed desperately, perhaps in search of something or someone. Their hands were raw, their skin burned, victims of hypothermia and frostbite. Nearby, between the tent and the tree, lay Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kalmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin. They appeared to have died attempting to crawl back to the tent. Slobodin had a fracture in his skull, but it was determined not to have been fatal. All 3 succumbed to the cold, caught between survival and the abyss. Chapter 4: The Ravine. It wasn't until May, 2 months after the initial discoveries, that the remaining 4 bodies were found, buried beneath several meters of snow in a nearby ravine. Ludmila Dubinina, Alexander Kolevatov, Nikolai Thibault-Brignoles, and Semyon Zolotaryov bore the most puzzling injuries. Dubinina's ribs were shattered, and her tongue was missing. Thibault-Brignoles' skull was fractured. Zolotaryov's chest had caved in, as if struck by immense force. Strangely, no external wounds corresponded to the internal trauma, leaving investigators bewildered. Even more inexplicably, traces of radiation were found on some of their clothing. This eerie detail only deepened the mystery, leading to decades of speculation, conspiracies, and wild theories. Chapter 5: Inquiries and Speculations. The Soviet investigation yielded few concrete answers. Official reports cited a compelling natural force as the cause of death, a phrase so vague it bordered on the absurd. The case was closed in 1959, and the files were sealed, adding fuel to the fire of rumors and suspicion. What had driven 9 experienced hikers to flee their shelter in such panic and ultimately to their deaths? In the years that followed, countless theories emerged, each more fantastical than the last. Some suggested that an avalanche had triggered their escape, yet there was no clear evidence of one. Others speculated about infrasound, military experiments, or even extraterrestrial encounters. Despite numerous investigations and the reopening of the case in 2019, the truth remains elusive. Dyatlov Dyatlov Pass stands as a monument to the unknown, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. Chapter 6: The Avalanche Hypothesis. The most conventional theory revolves around an avalanche. It posits that the group fled in terror as snow cascaded onto their tent. But critics argue there was no clear sign of an avalanche at the site. The tent was still partially standing, and the slope was not steep enough to support such a disaster. Yet, some experts suggest a rare phenomenon called a delayed slab avalanche, where compact snow unexpectedly collapses. Could this explain the hikers' frantic escape and fatal injuries? Chapter 7: Military Experiments. Another theory points to Soviet military tests. The Ural Mountains were known for secretive activities. Witnesses reported strange orange orbs in the sky around the time of the incident. Some speculate that parachute mines, designed to detonate above ground, could have caused the blunt force trauma observed. The radiation traces may also hint at military involvement. Was the group caught in the crossfire of a classified experiment? Chapter 8: Infrasound and Psychological Terror. Infrasound, low-frequency vibrations produced by wind interacting with the mountain, has been suggested as a possible cause of disorientation and panic. This phenomenon, known as the Kármán vortex street, could have induced intense fear, driving the hikers into irrational behavior. Could a sound they could not hear have driven them to their deaths? Chapter 9: Paranormal and Extraterrestrial Theories. From Yeti attacks to alien encounters, the more far-fetched theories refuse to fade. Some claim the injuries resemble those from high-pressure encounters, while others believe supernatural forces may have been at play. The eerie precision of the deaths and the lack of external wounds fuel these fantastical ideas. Chapter 10: The Legacy of Dyatlov Pass. Decades later, Dyatlov Pass remains a haunting enigma. Tourists visit the site, drawn by curiosity and a desire to unravel the mystery. New evidence occasionally surfaces, but closure remains elusive. The pass stands not as a monument to tragedy, but as a testament to humanity's enduring quest to uncover the unknown.